We're back with the case of Ron and Julia Stark, who are suing daycare provider Virginia Knapp for medical expenses for injuries their son incurred while in her care.
Okay, so the child had to get 10 stitches, and you had to pay the $800 for that, and your medical insurance didn't cover that?
We are, at the present time, we are not insured.
Got it. Understood. All right, and then I have the, what is this, assumption of risk and release of liability form. What is that?
That's what she had us sign when we signed him up with her services. And I also wanted to say that I thought that was her license. And
But wouldn't you read any documents that you signed?
I did read the documents that I signed.
Obviously
it doesn't say license. It says assumption of risk and release of liability.
Thank you.
And it says, I knowingly and voluntarily assume all risks associated with the activity and release. You basically signed away saying you would hold her responsible.
Thank you.
But I was
understand
under the
and agree that
impression...
by signing this form, I will waive and forever relinquish any and all claims. So you did sign this form.
I did sign, yes.
And Mr. Stark, you had a chance to review it as well, correct?
Yes, I did, and it was understood that there would be a license. I'm figuring if you have a daycare center, there are certain practices that you have to abide by.
Wait, are you saying that she doesn't have a
She
license?
does not have a license, and I would have never left my child there had I known that.
I don't have a license, but that has nothing to do with
Stop.
No. Oh, I beg to differ.
Stop. You don't have a license to take care of kids?
No, I don't have to have a license. At the amount of children that I have, I don't have to have a license.
That's what I told the police officer when I was driving my car. I don't have a license, but I'm driving. Come on.
No, as long as...
be real.
You are in the state of California.
Okay.
In the state of California, you have to apply for a license. There has to be some sort of criminal background check. You got to do an orientation. You got to get fingerprinted. There's a whole list of things. You didn't do any of that?
No, I didn't do that.
Why would you think that you wouldn't be able to do that?
Because I have under a certain amount of children.
That's not how it works. And you should know that before going into a business taking care of people's children. So here's what you're having me do. I'm sitting here looking at what clearly is some sort of injuries that Dylan sustained here on his arm with the stitches. Let's take a look at that on the plasma. And you didn't have insurance because you weren't licensed. You want me to legally hold them accountable, both in terms of your agreement and in terms of your liability, but you're not being held accountable because per the health and safety code, if you don't have a license, you can be charged $200 a day. So you multiply that by 2 years, and you could be facing criminal charges yourself.
How is that?
In fact, when people go into your place, that license should be visible when they first walk in.
I wasn't aware of that,
Yes,
Your Honor.
you were.
I was
this
not
is easy.
aware.
I've heard enough. Based on the evidence that I heard here, the testimony before this court, the gavel is going to come down in favor of the plaintiffs in this case in the amount of $800. That contract is void, and that is the order.
Thank you.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiffs. The defendant is ordered to pay $800.
I was so happy with the verdict. Judge Ross was absolutely right. He was very fair. She had no business practicing without a license.
We didn't feel like we got a fair deal, but if we have to do this, we just have to go through the proper channels.
And coming up,